Once you get monetized, you want to work on, I think sponsorships are the big boy, because that is consistent money that you know is coming. And if you're working with the right brands, it's just every month you get a certain amount.
Hello and welcome to this week's session of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, the deep dive conversations that I have each week with wonderful creators like Jenny that I have on the show this week. I would really appreciate it if you guys would share the show to your friends and family or those fellow creators out there, as well as check out everything that we have to offer for creators. I offer creator coaching where you can work with me one-on-one. We have the Creators Corner, which is our Discord server. $5 a month gets you in there. Plus, you get a monthly mastermind call that I host on Zoom. Just this past month, we did a deep dive on one of our members' channels. It was amazing. And then the last thing is the email newsletter. If you're wanting to get a behind-the-scenes look of what it's like as far as what I do for running my business, just check out the email newsletter. It's free, costs you nothing. Just literally all you have to do, give me your email address. I'll send it one time a week. I will not spam. And it's something that I believe you're going to get a lot of value out of. And then lastly, just subscribe to the show. Again, that's free as well, and you'll get notified every Friday morning when we go live with these wonderful conversations. Also, we record these in video over on our YouTube channel. Just search my name, Dusty Porter, over on YouTube. You'll find the channel, find the playlist that has these in it, if you would rather consume that way. We offer it in video as well in audio on all the different podcast players. So if you're on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Apple Music, Google Play, we are there. Thank you guys, as always. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Super excited today to be joined by Jenny Medici. Jenny used the carnivore diet to lose over 50 pounds and has passed along what she learned to help thousands of people transition to the carnivore lifestyle. She is a long-term carnivore and full-time content creator who is passionate about helping people take charge of their metabolic health. Jenny has a YouTube channel that's just named after herself, Jenny Medici, Carnivore, N=1 Data Junkie and Recipes. Great channel. As of recording, 136,000 subscribers, just under 500 videos. Jenny, how you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Really excited about this conversation today. I've gone through, as I normally do, and I've watched a handful of your videos, and I will have to say, you do such a great job of, you have your target audience, and when I watched like one of your videos, I knew exactly who you were speaking to and who you were trying to reach, and that, as a creator, is super important. So can you give my audience a little bit of a background story of the channel and how you got started on YouTube?
Sure, yeah. This is actually my third YouTube channel. My very first one I started in 2020, like so many people did during the pandemic. And it was a travel and like outdoor camping adventure channel called Adventures in Jennyland. The second channel was after we purchased a vintage Airstream. So my husband and I, we're not carpenters or anything, but we needed a project. So we started a second channel called Gorn and Jen, where we do Airstream renovation and travel. And then I got pregnant with twins. And obviously, I'm not going to be camping or doing any renovations to an Airstream during that. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to start a third channel, and this one will just be a twin mom lifestyle channel. And that's where Jenny Medici was born, that channel. That was what it was for the first probably year and a half, 2 years that I did the videos on that channel. And then I tried the carnivore diet. My very first day was December 27th, 2022. And I created a couple of videos around it. My 30-day carnivore update and my 90-day carnivore update. And I watch a lot of how to succeed on YouTube videos, editing videos and things like that, just because I was editing all my content up until that point. And I decided to release those two videos concurrently because I had no other carnivore content on my channel. And it was just all the twin mom lifestyle stuff. So I wanted people to have somewhere to go after they watched the first one. I had an inkling that carnivore content was popular. So I didn't know how they would do, but I just wanted to make sure I was prepared. That was something that I had learned on some other How to Do YouTube channel. Did that, and those two videos took off, especially the 30-day carnivore update video. I think as of recording, I think it has almost 700,000 views or something like that. After that, I tried to mix the two niches together, twin mom lifestyle and carnivore content. So I created some similar videos, but the carnivore content always did so much better. I went from 1,600 subscribers to 8,600 subscribers in a week because of those videos. And then I had my next biggest video was my 6-month carnivore blood work video that came out in August of that year. Those two videos had come out in June of 2023. This video came out in August, and that one just took off. I ballooned. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to shift my focus over to carnivore content. And that is what Jenny Medici is still today. So that's the evolution of my YouTube channels.
How old are the twins now?
They are a little over 3 years old.
Man, you have your hands full, and you're a mom, wife, creator, businesswoman, a lot going on there. I have to ask you this question. What was the moment that you realized that creating and this YouTube thing might be a little more than just a hobby?
Well, I would say when I first got monetized with the Adventures in Jennyland channel, that channel is also monetized, but very low subscriber count. That was my first taste of it. And then when the channel really started to grow after those first two videos, the 30-day and the 90-day, when it really started to balloon, I was like, okay, I think this is going to be a big deal. And then probably the next one would be when I got my first brand deal.
So we are, as far as we'll talk monetization later on in the conversation, but you are obviously accepted in the partner program and you also have brand deals. So there's two of the buckets that I like to call as far as like the way that you're monetizing your channel. That's wonderful. Can you walk us through your creative process as far as idea all the way to when you publish? Like, what do you do? Give us, if we were to peek behind the curtains per se and see you during a regular working day of, it's funny, whenever I let you in the recording studio here to digitally, obviously, virtually, but whenever I accepted your name and you joined, you were voice to text a script that you're working on with a YouTube short that you have coming up. So it's funny. We're always doing stuff like that. So can you walk us through just your creative process?
Sure. So I am a mom, a wife. I have tons of other things going on besides the YouTube content creation, but it is my full-time job now. So I typically script all of my videos. I don't do a lot of just like off the cuff because I don't want there to be any fluff in my video. I want to get straight to the point, deliver a lot of value, and then get out. And whatever length of video that is what it's going to be. Typically, I don't know, 7 to 25 minutes. It just depends on the topic. So I'll typically start by brainstorming ideas. At this point, I've been doing this now for 2 years, carnivore specific channels in June. So it's brainstorming the ideas. I have ideas coming out of everything. Like I have no problem coming up with ideas anymore. So I probably have content planned through 2 months ahead of time. I organize that in a note on my phone, and then I script out the videos on my morning walks. So I'll go on a 2 or 3 mile walk. I have my phone. I do talk to text on a note. And I do the first rough version just to get my idea out on paper. And then I go back in, organize it, spell check, do what I need to do, put the data in that I need to put in if I'm doing like a blood work or an N of 1 experiment video or something like that. After it is fully scripted, then it's time to shoot the video. I shoot everything in my living room. That is my studio right now, which I'm actually in Florida right now. This is not my living room. This is my mother-in-law's. But in my living room, you'll see it in the back of a lot of my videos. I have a lighting setup that I got from Amazon, just 2 little lights here, and I've got a ring light in front. I use a Sony a6400 for my camera. I'm pretty psycho about getting crisp video, so that's why I went with that camera. Great, fast auto zoom. And then I'm using Rode mics, Rode Wireless Pro mics, typically, lav, for my talking head videos. So I'll go in. Usually I'm doing this when my kids are napping. That's pretty much the only time I can do it. Otherwise, they would just knock everything over. So from like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., that's when I'm shooting. Shoot the video, and then I transfer it to my computer. And then I do have an editor now. I edited all of my videos myself in the beginning, but now I have an editor. He is in Croatia. So what I like to do is I go in and I cut the talking head video. I get it down to the A-roll that I want, and then I send that Premiere Pro file off to him and all the raw video and all that stuff. We just use Dropbox to communicate. And then I give him a quick text on WhatsApp and say, hey, this has a integration for this. It needs to be released on this day, and I need to have this integration approved, so he has it a few days before I need it. Yeah, send it off, and then he does the rest. All the B-roll, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. If I have a particular like idea of something fun I want him to do editing wise, I just give him that note and he does that for me. Then that's pretty much it for the videos. He sends them back usually within the next week, and I send the video off to whatever brand needs to approve the video. Almost all of my videos have brand sponsorships now. And then from there, if they approve it, which they normally do because a lot of these brands I've been working with for a very long time and I just have it down now, I really don't need to change my integrations very often. Then I just upload it to YouTube, and I do all of the descriptions, thumbnails, all of that kind of stuff myself. But yeah, that's the process.
Couple of questions from that. Number one, how much do you pay your editor, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah,
What's
totally.
an average that you pay for a video?
Yeah, so I found him on ytjobs.com, and I pay him 210 euros per video.
Okay. So 210 euros per video. You guys will have to get out your currency converter to
It's
figure
pretty
out what
close
that
right
is.
now. It's pretty close right now.
It is pretty close.
Yeah.
And I assume you made that jump when you were able to, as far as getting the brand deals, making some money to where you knew that you were at least breaking even, allowing yourself. And this is something that I've been able to do recently, is offload some things from my plate to where I can focus on the things that I feel I'm really good at. And for me, that's creating and getting in front of the microphone and producing things and making things. And so I've offloaded or delegated some of the other tasks. Can you talk about that process of when you realized it was time for you to go that route?
Sure. Your most important resource is your time. So if you can buy back any of it, do it. That's the biggest tip I have. But I started, let's see, I had been editing my videos for the Jenny Medici channel for about a year. And I got to the point where my AdSense revenue was enough where I could have an editor for 4 to 6 videos per month, and I would just break even. And at that point, I knew I needed to take that plunge, even if I wasn't going to be making any extra money, because then I could increase my output. And while I do enjoy editing videos, I really do. It's a really fun part of the process. It takes so much time. So I took the plunge. Like I said, ytjobs.com is the resource that I use. You pay $100. And man, did I get just a deluge of applicants. I think I whittled it down to 25. And then I had each of them submit a sample 1-minute video. I gave them a video I was going to edit myself. Do what you're going to do with this. And they sent me back samples. I whittled it down to 2 people that I then had edit for a while with me. And now my current editor is the one that we've been working together now for almost a year and a half. And he's amazing. Definitely worth it. If you're ready to take the plunge and you have a little bit of extra money, I think an editor is the very first job to hire out, to outsource.
Yeah, it's ytjobs.co or co or .com, the URL. And I've used it a few times to hire some one-off people for thumbnails or different things of that nature. It's much more niche down to just people who are looking to hire people for YouTube-centric things. So if you're going to Upwork or Fiverr, which I recommend both of those and use both of those as well, the YT Jobs website is very specific for creators and you can really hone in. I'm on their site right now and there's people that are posting advertisements that they're video editors, they're YouTube strategists, YouTube script writers, thumbnail artists. They're people that are specifically for creators. So it's really neat to hear you talk about that. Now, having twins as young as you do, being a wife, having a bunch of other things to juggle, how do you prevent burnout and how do you manage your time?
Great question, Dusty. That's a work in progress. I have to be a psycho about scheduling. I basically, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up a little earlier than everyone else in the household. I use that time to do any of my editing I need to do. Anything that needs to be done to get it over to my editor, I'm getting it done then. Then it's just time to cook breakfast, hang out with the kids a little bit, and then I have childcare. So I have a nanny that we've had since the boys were like 4 months old. And that allows me from 9 to 4 Monday through Friday to be able to do everything else I need to do. It just depends on what's coming up. I really like to batch film a lot of videos, get some out the door so I don't have to really worry about that too much. But yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. And my husband and I talk about this often. I could work until the minute I go to sleep. There's always something to do, but that's not conducive to a healthy life or a good family life or things like that. So I really try to turn off the YouTube work, anything related to my job by 4 or 5, and then just concentrate on my family after that. But yeah, it's hard, especially with this job because it's not traditional. You don't go in and punch a clock. Like I'm my own boss. I'm only really I only really have contracts with just a few sponsors that I have to have those videos out at a certain time. Besides that, it's just me making my own schedule. So it can be hard, but I'm working on it.
It is one of the hardest things to do as a creator. And I've been doing this now full time for going on 10 years, but have been on YouTube for almost 15, 16 now. And I'll say that it's something that I still struggle with to this day. I have 2 daughters, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. And obviously this job amongst other responsibilities outside of my job. And it's such a hard thing to balance. And something that I've done recently is, and I heard this on a podcast, I listen to podcasts a lot when I'm working out or going for my walks. And one of the guys on the podcast was talking about having a shutdown ritual where at the end of the day, you have whatever you're using for your to-do list or your notes app or whatever, and you just offload everything. And you make sure that your brain gets a full closure of just, hey, I'm ending the day, the work day, and I'm now transitioning to family time or transitioning to whatever. Because before that, there would be times where my wife and I are big Atlanta Braves fans. We love baseball. We love the Atlanta Braves. And so we'd watch the Braves games and the kids would be asleep fairly early. And then I'd bring the laptop as we were watching the games and I'd work on thumbnails and work on emails and different things for the podcast. And I realized that I wasn't present. And so I had to really figure out how to balance my time. And so on the end of that question I had for you, Jenny, what is your upload schedule currently?
There's a lot. 4 to 8. I'm going to say more than 4. It's probably about 8 videos per month just for the main Jenny Medici channel. I just started a podcast as well, and I'm releasing those videos on the YouTube channel in addition to everywhere else podcasts are released. So that's every Thursday. So that's an additional 4 to 5. And then I have a second channel, Jenny Medici, etc. That's more vlog style content. Went back to what Jenny Medici originally was because I really enjoy creating that content. And that is anywhere between 2 to 4 videos per month over there. So what does that bring us to? 12, 16 videos a month plus short form content.
How do you incorporate short form content? That was going to be my next question. How have you evolved that over time? And what do you think are the benefits of doing vertical video, like for you and your channel specifically?
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of short form content, but you have to do it. So I've been just trying. I basically release short form content on Instagram and TikTok, and then I will release some of the videos on YouTube. I haven't been super happy with the way that YouTube is delivering long form and short form content within one channel. I did an experiment where I released a lot of short form content with the same amount of long form, and my views actually went down. And I don't know, I just prioritized the long form. Short form content for me is mostly recipes, so carnivore recipes. I sometimes do a talking head about a particular topic. Can you do alcohol on a carnivore diet? Can you do spices on a carnivore diet? Or things like that, like questions that I get a lot from my audience. That's typically what I'm creating short form content around. So I'm still experimenting with that. I was really excited when the whole shorts were monetized on YouTube. I thought it was a really big deal, so I've really been optimistic, but I'm just still not super happy with the way that they're delivering it. I don't want to have a ton of subs from short form content that are never going to watch my long form videos, because the long form is where you honestly make more money. The shorts is just, unless you're getting millions and millions of views, it's not, but you're getting a lot of subs. I wasn't seeing those subs translate to my long form videos. Yeah, it's been a struggle.
It is a common thread. I've worked with hundreds of creators in my coaching program, and one of the most common threads that I see is a creator that has grown a channel through vertical video or shorts, and they're using the subscribe button like a like button, and they're just saying, oh yeah, I like this short, subscribe, but they never go back and watch anything else from that creator. Whereas your long forms, you're building that trust, you're building that authority with the people that, are actually consuming your content. And so it's a different type a viewer. And so it's hard to reverse that once it's gone down a path. And so I completely agree with the sentiment that you're saying. But I do believe that there is a place where a couple of years ago, I may have said, I'm not a big fan of YouTube Shorts or whatever. I understand the benefit of it now. I believe it's a good complementary piece. I wish the monetization options were a bit better. I think they're going to be. I do that they now allow you to do YouTube Shorts 3 minutes and below as opposed to just 60 seconds. Because for someone like me, my main YouTube channel is Think Tutorial, which is a tutorial channel, and I've got almost 400,000 subscribers over there. But primarily, my channel is for people who are searching for something and they want a specific answer. And so YouTube Shorts, really 60 seconds, you could do a few things with that. But what I do now is I do these big 20, 30-minute course-like videos of how to use a specific software. And then I'll have 3 to 5 YouTube Shorts that complement that long form. And I use the related video feature to point them back to that long form video. And I found that to be right now the strategy that I've settled in. And so it's really cool to hear you talk about what you're doing with your channel and how it's still evolving and you're still testing and things of that nature. The next question I have for you is, you talked about having endless amounts of ideas where you have just a running list. I know I do as well. How do you come up with these ideas? Are you just randomly, whenever you're out through your day-to-day and you're thinking this, and how do you consolidate them and how do you package them? Is it a notes app? Is it a spreadsheet? Give us your whole idea generation process.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of the time, if I'm just out and about, I will get a random idea and I'll just write it down because otherwise I'll forget. But sometimes I'll have videos that I create a one video and then that kind of just moves into the next video. So I have a sardine fasting series, started with the very first one. And then from there, I was like, I wonder if I could do a 10-day sardine fast. So I did that. That was a video. And I always do like before and after blood work, DEXA scans and things like that. Then I tried a 14-day. Then I was like, I wonder if I could do 100 cans in a month. I wonder if I did 1 can a day for 2 months, if that would affect my omega-3s. So that kind of was perpetuating that. Now, for that, I have a couple more videos I'll be filming in that same vein about mercury and arsenic levels if they go up if you eat a bunch of sardines. Just I take people's comments on the videos, and if there's similar comments on things, I'll be like, I need to create a video around that. So that also helps with idea creation. From time to time, if there's something that's in the news, like sometimes keto or carnivore studies will come out that are just total trash, like epidemiological, horrible, not real science studies, and everyone's talking about it, then I'll create a video about that. It's just, for me now, it's so easy to come up with video ideas. And I just use an app on the Note app on my phone, and I just scroll down. These are all video ideas I haven't done yet. So
yeah, if you're watching the video version of the podcast, she just has her Apple Notes app and she's just scrolling endlessly with the list of ideas that she has there. This is a really fun question that I like to ask creators. What is something small that you've changed recently that's made a really big difference?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say probably being very regimented with my schedule to the point of scheduling each hour. So I will go in, I'll be like, okay, wake up, cook, feed kids, take a shower, and then from 9 to 10, I'm going on a walk and I'm scripting this and this. From 10 to 11, I'm answering emails only. From 11 to 12, I'm working on edits for my book, a chapter of that. And that has actually allowed me to increase my productivity, because before there's just so many different ways my attention could be pulled. And now I've been able to really hone in on that. I've been doing that for the past few weeks, and I've seen a big difference.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate you answering that on the fly. Let's talk about monetization then. Let's talk about how you make money and on average, how much you're able to bring in from the YouTube channel. So give us a top level of what that looks like for you every month, of how you're bringing in income from the channel as a creator.
Sure. Do you want me to touch on all sources or just AdSense?
Yeah, just touch on all sources. I like to call them monetization buckets. So just all the different buckets that you have and just that process, and on average, how much you might make in a certain month.
Sure. Average right now, it just depends. I would say anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 per month with all of the buckets. Google AdSense, I think anyone that is out there that is monetized knows that it's very fickle. It's based on so many different factors. I think the most I've ever made on Google AdSense is $3,600. And the least I've ever made after the big bump because when I first got monetized, I'm making $25 a month or something like that. After my channel really started taking off, the least amount I've made in a month is, I don't know, 1,500. That's a bottom for AdSense. And then I have lots of other income streams because you have to diversify your income. You cannot just depend on Google AdSense. It's usually the first thing that people depend on, but once you get monetized, you want to work on, I think sponsorships are the big boy because that is consistent money that you know is coming. And if you're working with the right brands, it's just every month you get a certain amount. So I work with a lot of different brands. I would say sponsorships are probably the bulk of my income, and that would be anywhere between, I don't know, 5,000 to 10,000 per month right now, depending on, because sometimes I have one-off deals with people. I have consistent sponsors that are sponsoring 4 to 6 videos per month. It just depends. The next income stream.
Can I just
Sure.
pause you there? Can you just talk briefly about your strategy with sponsorships of how you land sponsorship deals and what your process is like? Because there's creators listening to this right now who are ready. Their channels are ripe and they may not even think, they may be saying to themselves, I don't have enough subscribers or I don't get enough views, where I know, as working with creators as much as I do, that they're creators that are monetizing at a very low view and subscriber rate. So can you just speak on that process for you?
Sure. I got my first sponsorship when it was still the twin mom lifestyle. And it was just a gifted sponsorship. It wasn't a paid one, but that was my first one. And I probably had, I don't know, 1,400 subscribers at that point. So I think gifted or just free product sponsorships you can get those really early. The paid sponsorships, that kind of just came with my view count, subscriber count. As that got higher, the brands came to me, which I think most people will have that experience, but I get flooded with emails from tons of different, just random, weird brands. I'm very picky with the brands that I choose to work with, and it's typically the brands that I already use, that I already trust, that have a lot of goodwill around them. And if I don't have experience with a brand, but I'm interested in the product, I have to try the product first. So I have them send me a free product and then I test it a lot. And if it doesn't meet my very stringent set of demands, then I can't recommend it to my audience, because you have a lot of trust that you build with people. And if you break that trust, that can break your entire brand. So I'm very careful with that. So as far as just like brand sponsorships, it's grown. I think the very first sponsor that I really worked with on a regular basis was Element Electrolytes. And now they sponsor lots of videos on my channel every month. That one has been my longest sponsor and just very easy to work with. Great brand. And then the other ones just come in and I take it from there. So that's how it works for me.
And then what are the other buckets? I interrupted you to get a little more detail on the sponsorship stuff. So what other ways do you make money?
Sure. So the next way would be my carnivore community. I have an online private carnivore community where people pay a monthly fee every month and then they get access to the community. I would say that's smaller for sure. I think as it continues to grow, perhaps that can be a bigger deal. I'm not able to focus a lot of my attention on it, but there's probably like 700 or so people in there. And then let's see, I have merch. I just started a merch store. There's not really a lot of great carnivore t-shirts out there that aren't like political.
Except for the one you're wearing right now.
This is
I
mine.
eat
Yeah.
meat and I know things. That's wonderful.
This is one of my designs. So I was just like, I want to have some cool carnivore shirts to wear. So we came up with a bunch. I have 6 different designs on jennyminich.shop. So that's another revenue stream. I'm trying to think of, my book. So I got a book deal that isn't regular income right now because it's not released. But once that's released, that will be another income stream. Trying to think, am I forgetting any?
It sounds like to me that you have diversified, as what I always tell people, and it's so important that when you make money that you diversify, you don't put all of your eggs into one basket, and you have certainly done that.
Forgot one.
Go ahead.
Affiliate marketing.
Yes.
That's the big boy. That one I would say is on par with AdSense and sponsorships. So that one I've definitely leaned into.
Yeah, being able to optimize that is important as well. What do you do when you have a video flop? So when you produce a video, we all do this. We have videos and we expect them to just blow up, and sometimes they just don't, whatever the situation may be. So how do you deal with that type of failure?
It happens all the time. You just get used to it. I have so many videos that I just think are amazing, and for whatever reason, they don't take off. At this point, I just move on. I really don't try to look at the views and all that kind of stuff when it's first released. I just like to let it go and see what happens. And if I do get a success, then I try to make more content like that. But if I have a failure, I put that in the mental Rolodex. I'm like, okay, I probably won't be focusing on that topic again. That's the only thing you can really do.
You go through your notes app where all those ideas are and you start Xing things off. Like, we're not doing these. That's wonderful. Can you talk about your biggest failure? Speaking of failures as a creator and what you learned from it, and on the other side of it now, how you feel about it?
That is such a great question. I don't have a big failure because I don't think failure is a bad thing. I think the only way to get better on YouTube or any content creation is just to create content, get it out there, and then you see what happens. If you go to my Adventures in Jennyland channel and you watch some of the very first videos that I created, they're freaking terrible, horrible, but I leave them up because I like to see how far I've come. I really can't think of anything that in this YouTube career that is, oh my God, total failure for me. I don't have that experience.
I had a podcast episode one time that it was episode maybe 250, in between the 200 and 300s. And I interviewed this guy with 1 million subscribers, and I was so excited to have him on the podcast. He was one of the biggest creators in his space, which was the photography space. And I released the episode. He shared it on his newsletter, which had hundreds of thousands of people on it. The podcast went gangbusters. I had my sponsor email me and be like, what have you done? We're getting all kind of traffic from your podcast that we normally don't do. And I was so excited. The end of that week gets here. He buzzes me, hits me up on social, or I can't remember how we were communicating back then. This was in the 2022 era. And he goes, hey, my sponsor wants you to remove the entire episode because something that he said was against one of his sponsors. I had to pull the whole thing. That episode had gotten, we're talking 10, 15, 20x what these episodes get anywhere from 15, 20, 30,000 downloads in the first 30 days. That one was on track to just go gangbusters. And I was so devastated. I was so disappointed. And looking at it now, it was such a good learning experience for me because I learned how to handle adversity in that, hey, I found this success. I was at the top of the mountain. But then when I had to remove it, I was so discouraged, but he came back on the podcast and we did it again and the episode did really well. So it was one of those things to where I had to learn to be patient as a creator. And sometimes we just can't do that. We're just not patient as humans. This is the way we consume content now. We're just in the swiping economy where we want something now. And if it doesn't entertain us or educate us in the first 2 seconds, we're done. And I'm glad to say that I'm hopefully not as that bad right now. Jenny, where do you see the creator economy and creator space going in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think it's only going up. It's just such an organic way to view content. I rather get my reviews of a certain product or whatever from another person. And if I see it enough in other videos, certain sponsorships or things like that, I'm like, okay, something is happening here. But I think there's a lot of room to grow, a lot, because there's so many people on their phones. There's so many people watching content. So yeah, I think it's positive for the most part.
Yeah, and I think with AI and all the technology rolling down the pipeline, it's only becoming more accessible. And people say, oh, it's going to devalidate the people who are doing it, or it's going to allow them not to do, creators are not going to be able to be creators because anyone can do it. That's not true. You just got to learn how to use the new tools. And the people who were able to utilize the new tools the best are going to be the ones that are successful and they rise to the top of the heap. So I completely agree with that. All right, so we're going to end this. And by the way, you are getting to be the first one on this podcast to be a part of this new lightning round that I'm doing at the end of each of these conversations. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
So the way that we're going to do this is that you can answer with as few words as possible, but these are all fun questions that I've come up with, and I think this is going to be a really fun segment of the show. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Your favorite creator right now?
Oh my gosh. That's a really hard question. We watch a lot of Sailing Delos, SV Delos.
SV Delos, okay? Coffee or energy drinks while editing?
Coffee, but I don't do I don't do caffeine, just decaf.
Nice. Guilty pleasure content that you just love to watch?
Oh man, Severance when it was on and White Lotus.
Yeah, those two are big right now. I have not watched White Lotus. I watched a couple of episodes of Severance, and I think I'm hooked. I'm not sure of that. And the last one is, if your channel disappeared tomorrow and you couldn't do YouTube, what would you do?
Oh gosh, take a vacation.
Yes, absolutely. I would absolutely, especially if I had twins. I have two daughters, and our house is crazy at times. We have two dogs that are under 2 years old. We got two daughters that are under 10 years old. All the busyness of my job, my wife's a teacher, and I'm with you. I think I would probably take a vacation as well. Jenny, you have been an amazing guest. And again, it's Jenny Midich, Mitich, over on YouTube. I will have everything that is related to Jenny's brand and that we mentioned today in the show notes for this week's episode. And Jenny, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is a wrap on this week's conversation of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. Don't forget to check out everything that we have to offer for you as a creator. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one and YouTube coaching, if you want to launch a podcast, I offer all of those services, as well as the Creators Corner. It's our Discord server creator community where $5 gets you in, and it gets you access to the monthly mastermind calls that I host on Zoom. And don't forget to check out the Entrepreneur's Minute, which is my newsletter. I share all the things that I'm reading, all the tools that I'm using. It's basically a place where you can go. I communicate with you, tell you what's on my mind once a week. I will not spam your inbox, and I think you're going to get a lot of benefit from it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's conversation as much as I did. Subscribe to the show if you haven't already, whatever your podcast player of choice is, and I will see you guys next week.